Hello crafty friends, Shana from ShanoukiArt. Today I'm going to be embellishing some ribbon holders. These make great pocket fillers or decorations for your journals. I'm using these beautiful Shabby Chic printables from Making and Creating, previously known as Digital Collage Club. I have printed this on regular copy paper because when I saw them I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them. And now that I know that I'm going to make them as a pocket filler, I want to make them a bit more sturdy. So I'm going to use the cover of a scrapbook, which is a nice thickness of cardboard to reinforce them. Of course, you could always print these on thicker cardstock, and then you won't need to do this step. I will put a link to these printables in the description box below. There's also a discount for you if you use my links. I'm going to use simply a glue stick to attach them to the cardboard. You could also use craft glue or Mod Podge or gel medium, whatever you have. These also make great little items to send as happy mail to your crafty friends. I'm going to make 4 so I can show you different ways to decorate them. Once these are all glued down and dry, we're going to cut them out. You can use a craft or X-Acto knife to cut yours. I'm not really good at doing curves and corners with the craft knife. I can basically do straight lines with a metal ruler. So I'm going to use a scissors to cut mine out. The cardboard I have used for reinforcement is not too thick, so it cuts pretty easily and I can go around the corners pretty comfortably with the scissors. Cutting these out will take a little time. I'm not going to bore you with showing you the entire process. I'm just going to skip forward to when they're all cut out. Once these are cut out, I do want to put some pretty paper on the back. Because they're going to just pop into a pocket or be a loose embellishment in a journal, people will pick it up and turn it over, so I want the back to be pretty too. I have this cute pink and white scrapbook paper I'm going to use for the back of the ribbon cards. I'm going to use the same process as the first part. I'm just going to stick these down and then cut them out. Again, I'm going to be using a glue stick. When I do use this, I do put quite a bit of glue. I'm quite generous to make sure they stick well. Using a scissors again, I'm going to cut these out. Don't worry too much if all your different layers are not sort of in line when you're cutting out. Because we're cutting each layer separately, our scissors won't maybe always go on exactly the same spot, so perhaps this bottom paper that I've just added now sticks out a little bit on certain parts of the ribbon holder. I think that is okay. I don't mind imperfections. If you want yours to be perfect, you can always just neaten it off with a craft knife or maybe cut a little slower or go over it again with your scissors. But I like the look of handmade. I'm now going to add some distress ink all the way around each ribbon holder on the front and the back. I'm using the color Vintage Photo. Doing this is also a good way to cover up any imperfections that you might have had while you were cutting these out. I really do love these stripes on the back. Now let's find some cute ways to decorate these ribbon cards. I'm going to start off with some buttons. I know it's a ribbon card, but I'm going to make it more like a button card. I'm using pink and green, which picks up the colors from the design. And I've got different sizes of buttons and also different tones of pink and green. I quite like the hodgepodge mix match of these. I want to add some dimension to make it a little bit more interesting. On one of the buttons, I'm going to add some Hen String. I'm using the Hen String because I like the color. It is a bit more rustic and vintage, and also the Hen String is quite stiff, so it makes nice bows. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a big bow that's going to be on the underneath part of the one button, and that's going to stick out from underneath once I stick that down. Then to continue the theme, I'm going to add some Hen String in the middle of each of the other buttons, but I'm just going to tie it off in the back and cut it short. So it looks like it's been sewn through, like a normal button card would be. But this is more of a shortcut version. We're not going to sew through the actual card. We're just going to create the illusion that it's been sewn through. We're actually going to glue these down. You can also skip this part if you just want to stick the buttons down straight. You don't have to put this in. I just really like the detail it adds. This is also a good way to incorporate additional color. If you want to bring in another color in, depending on what papers or buttons you're using, you can use different color strings or threads for this. Even a gold or silver thread will look really good if you want to have a little bit of bling on your card. A little trick I'd like to share with you to help the buttons stick flat. When you're doing this with the little threads or ribbons, when you're tying your knot, tie it on the concave side if your button is not flat. And then what happens is a little knot will sort of tuck in on the inside of the button. If you do it on the other side, even if that is the right side, when you stick that down, the knot will make the whole button stick up off the page, if that makes sense. So with a button that's not flat, make the knot on the concave side. That explanation sounds a lot more complicated than what it is. I hope it makes sense. And now we're going to stick these down. I'm using a hot glue gun for this. I'm loving the way this looks, and we may add more details later. I'll put it to the side for now. For the next card, I'm going to add some fabric all the way around. I have this beautiful, it's a chiffon type fabric. This is available from Taperlogy. It's very sheer and comes in beautiful colors with a frayed edge. I'm going to wrap this around just a couple of times, and then I'm going to tie it into a big bow. The bow itself adds some beautiful dimension. I will revisit that one too later. For this one, I have this Hessian ribbon type lace. I'm going to wrap it around just a couple of times. I'm going to keep the back in place with a piece of masking tape, which you won't see once it's wrapped around. I'm going to keep this ribbon in place with a bulb safety pin, and I'm going to add a few charms for texture. I also have a piece of the Hessian string, and I'm threading through 2 little beads, and I'm going to tie those off, and I'm going to put them as a dangle onto the bulb safety pin. To keep this secure, I am going to add some hot glue, just a small dot to keep everything flat, and then I'm going to attach the safety pin. I feel it needs a little bit more color. I've got some light pink and dark pink ribbon, which I'm going to add little tie-offs on the safety pin. While I was doing this one, I decided I was going to add a little tag to the ribbon bow. I have a ready-made tag made from like a craft paper. I'm going to just dress the edge, and then I'm going to cut out a butterfly from one of the printables, and I'm going to stick it onto the tag. I'm going to stick this butterfly down with some glue stick, and then I'm going to use a piece of Hen String as the tag tie. I'm going to tie a really big bow, and I'm going to leave the threads really long. They tend to curl a bit with this Hessian string, and I really like that look. I'm going to tuck it into the fabric, and I'm going to leave those long threads like spider legs. For this one, I'm going to add some lace. It really adds to the vintage feel. Again, I'm going to hold it in place at the back with some masking tape. I want to add some additional threads or some additional interest. I have these fibers which are from Taperlogy. I'm going to cut a piece that fits sort of all the way around, and then I decide I'm only going to use the one piece that has got beautiful little crystal gems on. I'm securing the lace down with some hot glue just to keep it in place, and then I'm going to see how I'm going to place these crystals. I love the iridescent sparkle that they add, and I'm just going to hot glue some of the beads down just to keep them in place where I want them. And then I had an idea. I wanted to put a wax seal to sort of hold this lace together, and I wanted to add some butterfly wings to the wax seal. This white butterfly is made of fabric, and then the green one is a sticker. So the idea was to only put the one side of the wings. I've done it before in a previous project, and I really loved the way it looked, and I wanted to try that again. So I've cut the one side of my wings in the white chiffon fabric and then the green sticker. I've now melted my wax, and I'm going to pour that on, pop the wings on really quickly, and then place my seal, which I was in such a rush to add that I didn't note if it was upside down or which way the actual seal design was facing. And then when I pull it off, it looks nothing like I had imagined. Very disappointing because it looked really good in my brain. Anyway, we will continue. I'm going to remove the wings, and I'm going to try something else. I cannot remove the wax. It is sort of in between seeped into the lace. So that's okay. We will work over it. It's not over until it's over. I could cut the lace off and put new lace, that doesn't matter, but I want to try and work with what I have and see if I can fix it. So I'm going to work with my green butterfly. I'm going to add the second wing, so it's a full butterfly, and then see if I can make this work, minus the wax. The white fabric butterfly has got 3 little diamantes as the little body, which I think are really cute, which I want to add. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the white chiffon wings behind, just for additional texture. I'm going to put the green wings on top, and then I'm going to add the little diamante center. I'm going to start by gluing the white wing to the green wing, just with a tiny dot of hot glue. I'm then going to glue the 2 wings together to form the butterfly. And then the little diamante center. I always love me a bit of bling. A few more crystals to balance it all out. I usually go back and add additional elements after I've had the item sort of in front of me for a little while. I keep thinking about it and deciding how I'm going to add to it. For this one, I'm going to add a piece of the Hen String just around the card at the top section, and then I'm going to tie a bow on the left. I also have these vintage style stickers. I'm going to cut out just the number parts and stick one on the button card and one where my green butterfly is. At this point, I thought I was done, but I did feel something was missing with this last card that I made. I left it overnight, and when I came back the next day, I decided to add one more thing because it didn't feel finished before. Here is a close-up of the other cards so you can see all the details. I'm going to add something more to this one. I tried a piece of the Hen String, just going a long ways on the card. I thought I would try that and maybe tie a bow, but I wasn't quite happy with that, so I looked at all the green fibers and threads that I had. I found one that I really liked and I thought suited the color well, so I just tied it just 2 or 3 times, just long ways on the card without a bow. I just tied it off in the back. And I really love that now. I really hope you enjoyed this video and were inspired to create your own ribbon cards. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell so you're notified every time I upload new content. Happy creating, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.